What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down what's happening with the unemployment numbers that just came out, what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump, and what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. Anyways, SPY is pushing as we got some decent unemployment numbers. We're looking for 598 as our target, but the question is, can we hold above 598 and push for the 600s? Or do we reject right over here and then start turning back down, especially as we have this gap to fill back down to 592? There's going to be a very, very big test on SPY in the market, I would say, very soon. And I'll talk about some key levels in just a couple of minutes. However, let's talk about what's happening right now with Elon Musk and President Trump. So, right now, the market's rebounding, especially Tesla, as we're starting to see the tensions cooling off a bit between Musk and President Trump. However, there's been some headlines that were coming out that were also saying that, Trump and Musk were to speak on Friday, which was, looking quite optimistic, right? They were to speak according to some reports. They were, seeing President Trump's aides scheduling a call between, President Trump and Elon and to kind of sort things out. But this morning, Trump is saying that he's not really interested in speaking to Elon Musk and that he's considering selling his Tesla, which is not the best of news. So that's what he said so far. He also called Elon crazy this morning. So I saw another headline about that. So Trump is calling Elon crazy. He's considering selling his Tesla, and he's not really interested in speaking to Elon Musk at the moment. So that's what's happening, at least so far. And now that's making headlines. So in the beginning, headlines were saying that they were supposed to be speaking. Now, President Trump is saying that he's not really interested in speaking to Elon right now. So that's, not the best of news. If he ends up selling his Tesla and he says some negative things, of course, that could affect Tesla again. So please keep that in mind, guys. This is, going to be having a big effect on Tesla stock. And that's why you want to be watching to see if we get any updates. However, when it comes to our data, okay, so enough about Elon and Trump. When it comes to our actual data, today is Friday, June 6th, 2025. Happy Friday, everyone. Keep in mind that we just got the unemployment numbers. Our non-farm payrolls were at 139,000. That's technically above expectations. And the unemployment rate's at 4.2%. That's technically aligned with expectations. Everything else is decent. Even the labor force participation rates, everything is like decent right now. The payrolls data was a little bit weak for manufacturing, but it's very, very minor. And the data caused the market to bounce because for the most part, everything was aligned with expectations. That's why the market saw a rebound for now. But the question is, can we sustain the levels? So the biggest things for the market right now would be that don't forget that yesterday President Trump spoke with Xi Jinping of China. He said they had a very productive call. It was very, very good. Those were President Trump's real words. He said it was a very good call, excuse me, and it went really, really well for them. They invited each other to each other's countries, and there could be a trade deal coming very soon, according to President Trump. So that was some good news. Besides that, we got some more data involving Elon Musk and President Trump, more news about them. So we'll see what happens moving forward with them. If we get some more updates, that could also cause volatility in the markets. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what else happens. So far this morning, President Trump called Elon crazy. He doesn't want to speak to him yet. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe they can clear up, some issues and get along, or we'll see what happens, right? We're just going to be very patient. Anyways, I think this was a trap for a lot of bears. They dumped the market really hard. People turned really bearish. The setups were looking weak. And all of a sudden, they're going to push us back. But the question is, can we sustain these levels? So on SPY, right, one could argue that we're forming a bullish wedge. This looks like a giant cup and handle and another bullish wedge. So the setup is technically bullish, but that depends on the key levels. If SPY, okay, can hold above 598, if we hold 598, we're looking for an attempt to get back up to the 600s. If we're bearish, if we end up failing and we end up losing 595, then we're going to be filling this gap back down to the lows of yesterday. So it's very simple, just like when I was talking about earlier about how we have this range between 598 and 595. Watch and see which way we end up going. If we could hold above 598 for 4 hours, we are going to be favoring the 600s pretty easily. Okay, so keep that in mind. I say this with uncertainty because it depends on Elon Musk and President Trump and all these catalysts. But let's see if 598 holds. If we hold this, we could be looking for a higher move back up to the 600s. And we could be looking for a full recovery move as well if that ends up happening. So please keep that in mind if we get some good data. But if we don't, if we get some bad news, if something else happens, don't forget about the gap below. I think that the market's kind of tricky right now, so you want to be open minded for anything just to be safe. So the bad news is if we reject off this, just like how we rejected many times off 598, I do expect 595 or the gap build that ends up failing. We might push a little bit higher upon opening. We might be going for like 598.5 or so, but then we'll see if we could hold these levels. That's going to be very key on the QQQ. Technically, we're riding this blue trend line up, so technically the chart is more bullish, but that depends. Can we break resistance? So I think that we're going to be pushing to 530 on the QQQ. We go a little bit higher. If we break this high, we're going to continue to push for the 530s. If we fail at 530 and reject, we could be turning back down to fill this gap. So if we lose 528 again, we could be coming down to fill that gap. Then we'll see if we bounce or not. So just keep that in mind as time goes on. So that's going to be very, very key for how things end up moving. So please be very, very patient, at least nonetheless. So with that happening, okay, that's going to be, very, very key for the way at which things are going. And we have to be very, very optimistic, at least nonetheless. So watch your levels, and we'll have to just see how it goes, at least for the time being. When it comes to the Russell, I just want to say the Russell's like really, really strong right now. The Russell 2000 is trying to push higher. So this is looking good. If we could clear 212, I do expect this to continue a very, very strong uptrend for like 213, 214 and above. But if we end up losing this high over here at 210, so if 210 fails us, if we reject and 210 fails, then we're looking for a dip back down towards this gap fill to 208 or below. So we're looking bullish. We could be looking for 212 plus. If we lose 210, we're dipping back down. It depends. Holds 212, you're bullish. Lose 210, you're looking more bearish. So we'll see just to be safe which way we end up going. On ES, we're looking bullish. We're going to be looking for the 6,000s, but the question is, can we hold them? See this, we rejected many times off 6,000. We hit 6,000 here, rejected, 6,000 rejection, 6,000 rejection. Can we break 6,000 this time around, start squeezing for 6,050 to really hurt those bears? Or do we reject off 6,000? So we do push a bit higher, then reject. And if we fail at 59.80, we're looking for 59.50 or below as a potential target. So I do think we test 6,000. We'll just have to see how it goes from here. So you want to be very, very patient, at least nonetheless. That's going to be very, very key for the way in which things are going to move. That's going to be very, very important. So that being said, make sure you guys are very, very patient, and we'll just have to see how well we could hold up here. I am a bit uncertain involving this Elon Musk and President Trump news. Do we see any more like updates and such? That's going to be very key. So keep that in mind as time goes on. Going into many others, such as NQ, it's the same setup essentially. So basically, this is trying to push higher, but it depends. Can we hold above 21,800? If that breaks, we're going back up to this high over here. If we fail at 21,800, though, if we reject, we're looking for a move back down to 21,600. If that fails us, we turn down, as we're still technically range bound. Could go either way, so we'll see if 21,800 holds or not. So keep that in mind. On Bitcoin, we need to get back above 105,000 to bounce. If not, if we lose 102,800, we're looking for a dip back down. So keep that in mind. Tesla is going to likely see some downside. I think that we favor a gap fill to about 288 and then 285 on Tesla. And we'll see if we bounce off that. Can we bounce and make a higher low right here? So see how we have this double bottom here. Will we end up like dipping to fill this gap? And then do we bounce after that, or do we just continue to fall? It depends on the news involving Musk and Trump. If Trump sells his Tesla and says bad things about Tesla, it could cause us to dip more. I do think we're going to fill this gap, and 285 is going to come, but then we'll see if we bounce off that or not on Tesla. Nvda is looking bullish. We're going to be looking for an attempt for 242.5. If that breaks, we're looking for 244. But watch that 242.5 to 244 area as a tough resistance. If we break that, we're going to be going higher. If not, we could be turning back down. Then we have that gap to fill, so we'll just have to see how that goes. For Aapl, I need to see if we hold above 202. If not, we could be looking less bullish. As long as 202 holds, we're now favoring the upwards direction for like 204. If we lose 202, we could be dipping to 200. So please be very careful. It's Friday. Fridays are known for manipulation. On AMD, we're looking bullish on AMD. We could be looking for 118 again, but make sure you watch your levels because we did reject off that many times. If 118 breaks, we're going to be going higher. If it rejects, we could turn back down to 115 or below. For Coinbase, we're looking a bit more decent. We could be pushing for essentially 253 if that breaks for bullish. If it rejects off 253, don't forget there's that gap to fill. And then we also have like a larger head and shoulders here. So if 253 fails us and we can't hold above that, and then we end up rejecting, we're looking for that gap fill and also move lower off a head and shoulders. So keep that in mind. We want to break 253 to be bullish. If we can't, we could kind of push and reject. So keep that in mind. Amazon's looking bullish. If we clear this high at 212, we're looking for 214. If we end up losing 210, we're turning back down. So there is some upside potential. Meta is looking more bullish. We're looking for 700 as our potential targets. For Google, we're looking decent. We're looking for an attempt to get back up to about 172.5 to 173, and we'll see how that goes. And Microsoft is going to be favoring a push to about 472.5 to 475 as we look more bullish. The VIX is dipping here. We're going to see if we bounce off 17 or not. We're at support. If it does not bounce here, the VIX could be dumping more, and this could be bullish for the markets. So are we about to see a short squeeze because of the very, very high short interest in the markets? Or are we about to see something different? It all depends. Is the VIX about to be dumping as well? We'll see about that. It does look kind of weak here. So the market could be flipping, but we'll see just to be safe. So make sure you watch your levels, and let's see how well SPY could hold up. As long as we're above 598, we're favoring the 600s now. The market could just make a full recovery move. If not, if we reject off 598, there is that gap to fill, so be careful. As of right now, the setup on SPY does look more bullish. Again, we did dip, and we were looking kind of weak yesterday, only to bounce. So if we hold above 598, we're going to likely continue to bounce, and we'll just have to see how it goes. Thank you for listening, and peace out.